Hi! Today's Holy Cows is about a spelling mistake. A very costly spelling mistake. It's about how two words, fair and trade, became misspelled as one word, fair trade. Which has become a sort of a funny idea which is supposed to make us feel better, while supposedly making the poor better off. Well, in fact, it's all about making them not just poorer, but worse off in every way and very backwards. Welcome to a very unfair edition of Holy Cows. So the point about fair trade is that it's a luxury item, really. So we've made it a luxury to help poorer people. And also the other thing I don't understand is that if it's fair trade, why is it so much more expensive? Why do we pay more for something? Surely if it's fairer, then the companies should cut their margin and allow the poorer people to benefit and us to pay the same.
In terms of coffee, they pay the farmer 5% more than the New York Coffee Exchange price.
Right.
That is what I believe fair trade farmers are paid. Okay.
5%.
5% more, okay.
Right.
So in theory, the retailers' margins are either the same or lower, right? So they will claim to give everything extra that they make to the farmers.
So how come generally, on average, the fair trade products are more than 5% more than the average
Well,
product?
there you go. Maybe they're taking advantage of our middle class guilt. I don't know. I'll tell you what kind of gets me about fair trade. By a company like Nestle saying we're going to go fair trade on our coffee, it immediately implies that all their other products are unfair trade. I think there's a bit of a PR issue here as well. They've got to be quite careful.
Okay.
If we go fair trade on one thing, it means the rest are, what kind of practices are we using there?
Hello, I'm an African farmer. I grow cocoa beans, which I can sell to you for 4p. But because you allow me to process the cocoa beans to make chocolate, I can sell you this chocolate, thank you, for a lot more money because the money is in the processing. As a result of which, I can then invest in industrialization, in new technology, or in livestock. One way or another, I become much richer, you become much happier, and we all live happily ever after. The money is all in the processing. Why can't we let the Africans, for example, make chocolate for us? Do we think their hands are too dirty or something? Or what? I mean, or is it racism through the back door? I mean, I don't understand.
I don't know if you can go, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Hello, I'm an African farmer. Thanks to something called fair trade, one word, I can sell you cocoa beans not for 4p, but for 5p. You're so generous. Of course, I could have made a lot more money if you'd let me process the cocoa beans to make you chocolate, which I can then sell them to your markets. But you don't let me do that, do you? So I don't have that money. And of course, all my cows die because there's nothing to do. And I end up looking like this. See the similarity? But let's look on the bright side. You can now come to my country and you can go on safari. Because wild animals don't live in industrialized countries. You used to have wild animals, but you killed them all when you became developed. We, on the other hand, we live in a pre-industrial idyll thanks to fair trade, which means that we can just get by while you come in and shoot our animals and enjoy post-colonialist bliss. How much of fair trade is really just maintaining the status quo and keeping people just above a level of subsistence without really truly helping them?
That's a very good point. Probably quite a lot of it is the answer. It depends if you're glass half full or glass half empty. I mean, if you think bringing farmers out of poverty slightly is helping them, which clearly it is, then obviously fair trade's a good thing. If you think, as you've just suggested, that fair trade actually keeps them down, I mean, there's an argument for that as well. The point is, there are bigger issues here that need to be dealt with. There are tariffs, there are trade barriers. Those are the meaty things.
Isn't it very arrogant of us to be deciding, to be judge and execution? Who decides what a fair price is? What does fair trade mean?
Fair enough, fair enough.
See, there.
But listen.
Is it fair enough?
If I was a kid, if I was a kid growing up in Uganda and my father was a chocolate grower,
right,
and I either didn't have a decent school, clothing, books, or did,
right,
I know what I'd rather have.
Making fair trade into a brand is sick. Fair trade should not be a brand. Fair trade should be taken back to being two words again: fair and trade. It's about allowing others, Africans or South Americans, to trade with us on an equal footing without imposing ridiculous tariffs on them. Because if we don't allow them to do that, then expect them to leave their lands and immigrate over here. And when they do that, I don't want to hear you complain.